You guys hear the motorcycles revving outside of my window?
No, we can't.
Can't.
Well, that's good because there are motorcycles revving very loudly outside.
Fast and Furious.
Where are they going?
Oh no, there's like a biker gang here. That's what I'm. But you know, it's like an all black biker gang, which I'm actually here for because I didn't know those existed. I feel like the media has only ever shown us, you know, a certain
Sons of Anarchy. You only get Sons of Anarchy biker gang.
Exactly.
That's a great show.
These bikers, I guess they got like a little motorcycle speaker and they was playing some good music. They played Leave the Door Open. They were playing some old hits. Like,
yo, it's just funny that they're just playing Leave the Door Open while on a bike. Like, yeah, let's go.
Are they old? Are they like older or younger?
They look middle-aged to older. You know,
I've never seen a young biker gang.
Yeah, you don't see like a biker gang that's like
30-year-olds.
Yeah, they're like 40s. They're like Wild Hogs. Y'all seen that movie?
Yeah.
That's a classic. That movie hilarious.
It is
that's
a classic. That's
45 plus.
Yeah, are we going to be the younger motorcyclists that change that trend?
No.
Oh.
But actually, speaking of trends that people want to change but just won't, kind of a smooth transition there. So this honestly starts with the Phineas tweet. So auto-tune is like the most controversial thing ever for some reason. And, you know, everyone bashes it. It's a go-to. I'm wondering what prompted Phineas to tweet this. I'll read the tweet first and then say what my theory is. He tweeted yesterday, y'all act like auto-tune is this crutch people lean on when they can't sing. Auto-tune is cool. If you can hear auto-tune, it's on purpose. Almost every single pop star's vocals are drenched in melodine, which I'm assuming enhances your vocals, and you probably can't even tell auto-tune is completely different. One, what do y'all think about this, his general statement?
I mean, it's really fair. I don't know why auto-tune gets such a bad rep. Like it's everyone uses it. No one sounds amazing all the time. You know, like if you're releasing something, you want it to sound as good as possible, and it's gonna there's gonna be some vocal enhancement on everything.
Yeah, I kind of agree with them because we kind of talked about this like last week or the week before with the T-Pain stuff. You can't people are like, oh, auto-tune is for people who don't have any talent. Like you still have to have some kind of rhythm and talent, some kind of, you know, songwriting ability or, you know, musical ability to still make good music. You can't just throw auto-tune on something and then like it sounds good, you know. Like you still have to have some kind of talent.
Exactly. And the funny thing about this is I point right to T-Pain because I think the thing when T-Pain first used auto-tune, no one knew he could actually sing. So everyone just associated it with like a way for a bad singer to pretend he can sing.
I didn't even see this.
We didn't find out he could kill it. Oh my gosh, T-Pain doesn't need I didn't realize this. Wait, what was she replying to? Did T-Pain say something?
No, so Charlie responded to the Phineas tweet by saying, "Welcome to the Auto-Tune is Art Appreciation Society. We're honored to have you." Someone responded and said, "Please welcome our founder and most honored guest, T-Pain." And then Charlie XX said, "T-Pain doesn't need welcoming because he started the whole thing, aka legend."
Period. And that's what it is. But no, the reason why I like both of your points is because T-Pain showed us that like, no, he can sing and just use auto-tune as like an element in his vocal production. And that's what it is now.
It's so crazy because I kind of wish he sang without auto-tune more because he has a good voice.
Yeah, but think about how much music we wouldn't have if T-Pain didn't.
True, that's the thing too. But then people found out like he could actually sing. It's like, oh, T-Pain is like, yeah, he does this. Like
I always say, like T-Pain used auto-tune like an instrument.
Exactly.
And he started a trend. I'm kind of thinking Phineas said this in response to Billy's new song because she uses auto-tune on it pretty often. And I know he.
But who's mocking Billy for not being able to sing? We all know she.
Right,
we all know she could.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I literally waiting for James Bond to come out just so I could listen to that song on repeat. Yeah.
Okay, so the question remains, if y'all are recording an EP, are you using auto-tune, yes or no?
I'm not sounding good without it, so
yes.
Or whatever Phineas said it's called.
Well, you got an EP without auto-tune, so
you know, hold on, the streets ain't ready for it though. You know, that's
I heard the 3-song EP. First of all, I'm not lying.
You know, I really could drop a 3-song EP because that's true. Some people be doing that.
I still have them in our messages, bro. You act like I'm playing. I still got the audio.
Look, now that I'm playing keyboard, I'm gonna enhance it. I'm gonna do a whole thing. Y'all just
you playing keyboard? You playing keyboard?
Oh, I'll save that for next week's episode. Music instrumentation. But welcome to the 97 Demo podcast where we give music news, and a whole bunch along the way. Today we're having a cool episode about a debate we had once about posthumous albums, so stay tuned for that. Shall we get into the headlines, you guys?
Let's get it.
Let's get it. So this one's cool, and it kind of makes me want to go to DC, which is where I think this is. So the National Museum of African American History and Culture, which is run by the Smithsonian, have announced the Smithsonian Anthology of Hip Hop and Rap. Fun fact, I pitched this story at work, and I'm pretty sure I said I just mispronounced anthology. Wait, anthology.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I think I was like anthology or something. It was so embarrassing. And I'm on broadcast journalism, very embarrassing. But basically, so this is it's a collector's item. It includes a 300-page coffee table book, a track list of influential rap songs, an essay about rap's cultural impact, and I believe it's going to be like some of the songs. It's like 129 songs across 9 CDs, and it includes Public Enemy and Lauryn Hill and Kanye West and Nicki Minaj. I kind of wish I could see what the actual list of songs will be, because I wonder who else made this list.
Are they gonna like release it as a playlist or something? Who's buying CDs?
Oh, I would buy this. I'm like the audience, the same people who would buy vinyls.
Yo, I bet there's already a deal with like Rap Caviar or something to have like some kind of playlist.
There's gotta be.
I'm
not buying it. I'm not buying a CD, but I want to listen to it.
I think people would though. But
I think this is so cool because I'm sure it's gonna be in beautiful packaging. You know, I think it's super cool.
I think it's gonna be dope. And there's like a bunch of people on like the what's the like the board, I guess, of like people that decide these songs, like Questlove and stuff like that. So there's a bunch of other people and like that.
The book sounds cool though.
Yeah, the book sounds cool. So yeah. I've gone to that museum. You guys have. Nnamdi, I know you've been. Avery, have you been able to go?
I've never been.
Yeah, it's an amazing museum. You get a chance to go. It's free. Remember, it's free. I don't know what it's like for COVID, but I kind of did wish they had like more of a cool thing on like hip hop. Like I haven't been there in a while, but I don't remember them having like a super like hip hop like section. I don't remember though. It's been a while. So
I do remember there being a music session because I remember seeing a thing of Nicki Minaj. That's the only
cool. Yeah. It's just been a while. Like last time I went was like
a long time ago.
2-3 years ago. Yeah, but it's super amazing. It's super amazing to go. So yeah, if you get a chance, go check.
Speaking of people going places that are in Washington D.C., y'all see how I just be, you know.
You're a beast, bro. You're on it today, bro.
But this one I thought was actually pretty cool. Olivia Rodrigo partnered with the White House to basically urge more young people to get vaccinated because apparently young people, by young they mean like 18 to 29, honestly 12 to 29. We're one of the least vaccinated segments in the country, which is a problem for obvious reasons. So the White House has been trying to brainstorm different ways. And this is one of the ways they came up with. If you remember, first it was the free beer and the free baseball games. Now it is Olivia Rodrigo. And she basically is, I guess, doing a campaign with them. She's at the White House. She spoke to the press corps, urging people to, young people to get vaccinated. She's doing a thing with Fauci. But yeah, this is just the White House using new talent and hoping it works. I thought this was smart.
What I read, actually, I think Olivia Rodrigo, like, she came to the White House saying, like, hey, we should do this. From what I read in this article, I don't know if, from what I read, it says, like, hey, she was one that, like, kind of approached the White House saying we should kind of do this. But I don't know. I don't know, like, all the behind the scenes stuff clearly. But
no, that didn't. Wait, did it say that? Where did it say that?
I'm sorry, I gotta find it. It's kind of hard. I can't go through it now. But
can you imagine like Olivia Rodrigo DMing Joe Biden and saying,
"Hey, you're dropping the ball. We need to get young."
I mean, okay, whether it was Olivia Rodrigo or her team, like, hey, this is a big idea.
But no, I don't think it was her team, just because I know Joe Biden and the White House specifically have been brainstorming ways to appeal to the youth. So I know in that administration sat down and was like, Olivia Rodrigo has had like the #1 album for the last 1 month, and everyone that's young knows her. Let's make it
White
happen.
House Press Secretary Jen Psaki said on Wednesday that Rodrigo offered to come to the White House.
Oh, well, yeah. I believe she offered to come to the White House, but I think the partnership is probably like being driven by the White House.
That's what I'm saying, though. She was like, hey, I can come if I, So I'm not saying, I don't know, but I'm just going off what the article said,
This was great.
I'm not best friends with Olivia Rodrigo.
This was great for like the pictures alone, because it literally looks like she's the president in this picture.
It really do like she's the president for yeah, I guess president history.
Rodrigo.
It is interesting though, not to get like away from music, but like, it makes sense why like that, that demographic of like people are not vaccinated, because it's not them, it's mostly their parents. It's like, you're not getting vaccinated, you know what I'm saying? We're talking about like young people, young children.
Well, I think that's like, I think that's like some of it, but you know, when you think the vaccines are only approved for people who are 12. So I think once you're 12 and older, you know, obviously like high schoolers and like middle schoolers, yeah. But for that later half, I think it's just people think they're immune. They're like, oh, we don't get COVID. And if
yeah, for sure. I agree with you. But there's also like a large group of adults too that are like, oh, my kid's not getting vaccinated. Like Joe Rogan said on his podcast, he's not getting his kids vaccinated.
All this to say, get vaccinated.
Get vaccinated. Yeah.
Get vaccinated.
We don't normally get political on the 97 demo, but
it's not political.
Politics, bro.
It's not politics. It's health.
Get your 2 shots.
I just care about my life, the people around me. You know, so
and if you still don't want to and you're hesitant, you can just wait.
People been getting vaccinated their whole lives. Like now, I'm like, nah, I'm good.
I know. Honestly, the people who are hesitant now, I'm like, you probably didn't get the mump shot before you went to college. Like, those are the vibes I get.
Oh, didn't that happen in Mizzou? Oh, never mind.
Oh, throwback. But she's recording. So wait, she's recording videos about the importance of young people getting vaccinated and important questions.
Yeah, posted to like both the White House and her own socials.
Yeah.
So. Well, look, I think that's
smart.
Be effective and get people to do it.
That's super smart.
Now.
What's that, buddy?
I thought you were saying something.
Oh, no, buddy. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was about to move on. So I was like, any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. Go get vaccinated.
Go get vaccinated, yeah. From the 97 demo PSA. You heard it here first. Announced a story that just isn't good at all. I don't know. There's no way I can transition.
No, there's no transition for this one.
Well, actually, I could, and I hate it. Speaking of getting,
don't do it.
Oh,
I knew it.
Wow, nobody got shot. They didn't get shot though.
They didn't get shot. Just like the people who won't get vaccinated.
True. This is terrible.
But no, this is a horrible story. I'm sorry for doing that. Lil Durk and I can't remember
his
the
girlfriend.
Name of
India? Is it India?
India something.
India. I didn't want to say India something. I thought India Royal, maybe.
I'm just gonna say India. All right. Well, Lil Durk and his girlfriend India, basically, they were the victims of a home invasion where shots were exchanged. They said several intruders entered his home, and luckily they're both still here. But we know there was a gunfight, and this is just Lil Durk. I feel I always feel like I read headlines like this about him, which is like kind of terrifying. Like I'm terrified for him. I don't know what's going on there, but I just feel like I always hear headlines of like Lil Durk and some sort of like violence. Like his brother just got shot and I think fatally. And it's just terrifying. It's kind of crazy because we're gonna be talking about Pop Smoke and his albums and whatnot. But last year somebody invaded his house and he was murdered. Like these people are not afraid to run into these celebrities' homes or whatever and kill these people.
There's also that story of Eminem's house where someone
Eminem's house,
stared him in the eyes.
Exactly. These people, you never know what's gonna happen. So thank God he's okay.
I know.
But I'm with you. It was in Atlanta too. It was his Atlanta home. It's just insane. It's just insane.
I know, it's kind of crazy that no one got hurt because of, he didn't get hurt because of the, what happened.
Thank God nobody was hurt.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Thank God nobody was hurt. So
absolutely,
that would have been terrible. So yeah, and he has an album that's doing great with Lil Baby already. So
I know
that would be terrible. So thank God he has an album that's that's doing well, and he's okay, and his girlfriend's okay. So yeah,
Lil Durk.
Yeah, Lil Durk.
Yeah, so we're happy that this didn't end up much more tragically. Oh gosh, and then tragic news that we just literally found out hours ago from the time of recording this. Biz Markie has I guess been pronounced dead at 57. TMZ, I want to say, was a publication that a couple weeks ago leaked this story, and his family had to come out and correct it and say he's not dead. Apparently what people were saying then was that he was in some sort of hospice, but he was not actually dead.
I think it was Revolt. I think Revolt came out and made a post hey, Biz Markie's dead, and then people were like, he's not dead, and he wasn't dead, but he was in hospice care, so it was coming, unfortunately.
And apparently this is a series of complications from diabetes that he's been fighting for more than a year. So this is it's really, really sad news. Biz Markie was best known for his hit "Just a Friend." If you don't think you know the song, I'm here to tell you almost most definitely do know the song. But obviously, rest in peace. It was very, very sad.
He was so young.
Yeah, 57. That's young. Really
That is,
sad. Yeah, rest in peace. Yeah, a lot of rap legends died as of late, which is unfortunate. So yeah. Rest in peace.
Let's get some new releases this week. I guess the first of the list is a Posthumous album that kind of inspired this entire conversation we're gonna have in our episode of Pop Smoke. Faith, John Mayer also put out an album. Willow put out an album, and I'm very excited about it because I'm all for going into rock. And then we have a solo single from Kevin Abstract of Brockhampton, solo single from Nnamdi, formerly of Fifth Harmony. What did you guys listen to? And what'd you like?
The Kevin Abstract track was dope with Slow Tie and Snot. I don't recognize him, but that track was really good. Yeah, I don't know. It's so interesting because on Kevin Abstract, like the genre says pop, but they're like rapping, so it's like okay. But yeah, that track's good, and I really do like the Normani and Cardi B track. That track sounds great.
Yeah, that was good.
I like it. It's really good. I've been waiting for Normani to kind of get the attention I feel she deserves, and I'm hoping this will be the song that does it. It was a good song, really good. Did you watch the video?
The choreography in that video is crazy.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the video, but I've seen the artwork, which is crazy. It's the artwork the single artwork. Is that like reminiscent of like the actual music video?
Yeah. I don't think so.
Got you. Okay, yeah, but it was a good track. Good track.
Oh, well, there's a scene in the video that's like the artwork.
Got you.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, so yeah.
When you listen to this Logic song,
it's terrible.
You already know where my energy is with the Logic.
Terrible. It's terrible. You guys, it's so crazy. I've been like listening to old Logic as of late, and I'm like, yo, Logic used to be so good. Bro, I remember I used to think
we
Logic
liked
was
his
the best.
last album.
We liked his last album too. But these singles.
Did we like his last album?
I think we did.
Yeah, we did. We gave it.
I did.
See,
like 6.
Okay, even though Logic, everything surrounding him, we might not like his last album was solid. It was a solid album. I think we gave like a 7, 8-ish around that range.
Definitely wasn't 8. It was either 6 or 7.
6 or 7 sounds more right.
I'm pretty sure we gave it 7s. I'm serious. Y'all go back and listen because y'all want to hit on Logic now.
Sounds feasible. 7 sounds reasonable.
I might have given it 8. I'm not gonna lie.
But I feel like there's been a Logic. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I feel like there's been a Logic song on this list almost every week.
Every week. It's been every week.
And every single week, there's not been a single week where I've heard anyone say that song was tough.
It's terrible. This song is terrible.
But Nnamdi was the bad guy when he told him to stay retired for 6 more months.
Okay, he has the right to release bad music. Okay, he has the right to release
bad
music.
Him
releasing music and it being bad are two separate things.
That's true. That's very true.
So yeah, I actually listened to these Alicia Cara records, Sweet Dream and Shapeshifter. They were solid. I messed with them honestly. They were solid. It wasn't Normani and Alicia Cara were in the same. We're both in Fifth Harmony, right?
No,
they weren't?
Not at all.
They weren't.
Alicia Cara is her own artist.
Really? They were never in the same.
You're probably thinking of Camila Cabello.
Oh,
who also released a new song this week, I think.
Wow.
Dang it, she didn't make the list. So
she was not on this list. It's with Shawn Mendes. It is not on this list.
But I'm kind of her and Shawn Mendes be putting out songs that feel.
Camila Cabello. Wow, I'm getting all these people confused. They all the same. It don't matter.
Hey.
No, you cannot say that on this podcast.
All these pop artists. What did I say? I didn't say women. I said these pop artists are all the same.
I'm not sure that makes it better. Well, I guess it kind of
honestly. I keep the same energy with these rappers. I keep the energy the same. All these rappers the same too. I keep the same energy.
Did anyone listen to any of the Willow songs?
Only the singles.
Only a single from a couple weeks ago.
If there was you'd review this album.
I'd be down.
I'm interested. Yo,
we'll talk post pod.
What if we reviewed Willow and then Jaden like it comes out next week? I bet it's coming out next week.
If they were to do back-to-back album releases, I'd absolutely be. I think Willow and Jaden are two of the most talented rising artists that are out. And I don't even know if I can call them rising. They've both been making music for a very long time. So I don't know if they're rising, but young artists.
We were supposed to see him on J. Cole's tour a couple years ago. He wasn't there.
I know he wasn't there. Very upsetting. Avery, did you listen to this Anyone listen to John Mayer?
I did not, but
Avery's brother listened.
My brother listened to it and he did not like it. So,
oof.
Well, he said it was terrible. Apparently,
yeah. He said he's a big John Mayer fan. So,
and he's a fan, and he said it's terrible.
He's a big John Mayer fan. He says terrible. He said he only liked 2 or 3 songs on it because he's not playing
Ooh.
enough guitar on it, and it's like he said it's more like 80s.
Isn't it like 11 tracks on it too? It's like short, I think.
Yeah, bad percentage there. Did not shoot well from the field apparently.
That's a very bad percentage.
Yeah, you're not doing good when Logic got a better percentage than you did.
Dang, bro, he putting up Drew Holiday numbers, bro. Like,
Dang.
it's crazy. Oh man,
I listened to this Claro album. It was great. I was very excited for it.
Ambi.
What kind of music? Claire, is he? What kind of music is he? Is he
she. The best way I can describe it is it's like bedroom pop, sad white girl music.
Okay.
So, everything
But not Lana Del Rey. Not Lana Del Rey.
No, but it's produced by Jack Antonoff. Take that as you will.
He has to be everywhere. I know he has to be. He has to be a 100 millionaire. Like
he's everywhere, bro.
He's close.
His album comes out in 2 weeks. I'm very excited. But
Avery loves
is he singing on it?
Huh?
Is he singing on it, or is it like
he's
a
not
DJ Khaled?
It's just Claro. No. He just produces. And then he's no for his album. Yeah, he has a band called Bleachers, and he sings on it. Yeah.
Oh, I've heard of them. Yeah. Okay.
So is the album Bleachers, or is it just him?
It's Bleachers, but like it's him.
Is it Jack Antonoff in the Bleachers? No, I'm kidding.
Remember Fun? He was the guitarist in Fun.
Yeah, I remember now because we are young. You know, we are young with my anthem.
Bleachers that's like his side. That was his side project during Fun, and then became his
main project because him and Nate Rios.
Yeah, they just did not vibe apparently.
Yeah. Anything else y'all liked? Solid week of releases. I like this Mahalia track whenever you're ready. But yeah, nothing else though. Mahalia's great. But
can I just shout out NDA from Billie Eilish from last week, because I actually listened to it and that was like a good song. I don't know why I feel like Billie Eilish, her rollout this time isn't getting as much like attention. Like it feels quieter. I don't know why.
People just want the album. They just want the album. They just want the album.
I'm excited for it. I think 2 weeks from today. Are we gonna review that?
We need to.
Ooh, you know that album comes out the exact same day as You Know Who. So.
Wait, who?
Yeah. Isaiah.
Oh.
The album comes out the same day as You Know Who. So.
Well, look, do we want to really commit ourselves to? Well, this is a post-pod.
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see.
Hey,
We'll see.
If viewers are listening right now, who do you want us to review?
Oh,
Billie Eilish, Isaiah Rashad. Well, who did I say earlier?
That's a great question, because on Twitter, the people we follow, I feel like they messed with Isaiah Rashad, but people love everybody loves Billie Eilish. Everybody like Billie Eilish. So
I saw a tweet criticizing Billie Eilish today that started with "I love Billie Eilish's music." So
I love Billie Eilish, but where's the album?
So
yeah. So really interesting. Well, if you want to get into the main discussion, people, we kind of already gave it a little preview of what we're discussing, you know, with the new releases with Pop Smoke. But one of our first episodes a while ago, I believe it was our 5th episode ever. Somebody gotta fact check that. We talked about, you know, best posthumous albums and stuff like that. But we didn't really get into like the minutia and the morality of it and whatnot. And that was last year when he released his first posthumous album. What was the exact name of that track? Shoot for the Moon, Aim for the Stars, something like that.
Shoot for the Moon, Aim for the Stars.
Aim for the Stars, I got that. So with the release of Pop Smoke's second posthumous album, Faith, which was just released, we kind of a lot has been discussed about like the morality of it, how people feel of like another album being released, and referred to this tweet that Nnamdi sent in the group chat a couple of days ago. Not gonna lie, there's no reason there should be another Pop Smoke album. And he went on to say unpolished records and hella random features isn't the goal. Plus, always start releasing music when the person is dead was crazy to me. I don't know what y'all talking. Releasing dead people's artwork is crazy. Like, bro is dead. These songs were just ideas and drafts. At least the last album had a clear idea. Dog making the dead album roll out is crazy. His legacy is already written in history. And then, obviously Twitter gonna do Twitter and people gonna argue and stuff like that. We didn't want to, we didn't want to be that, surface level. We kind of want to get more deep on it. But, me and Nnamdi had a really, deep discussion on like, is it the right thing to do? Is it okay? The artist isn't involved creatively at all in the, in the posthumous album process. It just depends on certain how things are going. Like Nnamdi, one of the examples we used was the Mac Miller Circles thing. You know what I'm saying? Circles came out, and Mac Miller already had like an idea of when it's swimming in circles, and he already worked on it. He had somebody to finish it. But with Nnamdi, correct me if I'm wrong, Nnamdi, you have a problem with the there's no album, no idea of an album coming at all, and they're just kind of just throwing unreleased songs, unfinished songs together with a bunch of features and kind of just putting an album together to make some money. So we want to discuss that on a deeper level, and we've referred to this New Yorker article, The Perils of the Posthumous Rap Album. But we don't have to just talk about rap, we'll talk about posthumous albums in general. So that was a lot. Sorry about that. So
I feel like you said that perfectly.
Thanks, bud.
Summed up everything.
Thanks, pal.
Andrew summed up my beef with all of this.
Exactly. So yeah. So in this article by Sheldon Pierce from the New Yorker that came out on March 11th this year, he kind of talks about, he doesn't really take an exact stance, but he's kind of talking about, releasing that album, people kind of making money off it, but also, the fans want to hear new music from their favorite artists, and we want to discuss that. So what are you guys' thoughts on it? Just to start off, what are your guys' thoughts on, posthumous albums being released? When is it okay? When is it not? When is it like too much? When does it make you uncomfortable? How do you guys feel about that?
Well, I feel like you kind of already previewed my thoughts on it. One, I kind of forgot we did the posthumous album discussion last year, and it's crazy because we did that surrounding Pop Smoke's album last year, so it's really kind of deja vuing it. But I think that's a perfect place to start. That album, Shoot for the Star, Aim for the Moon, was a posthumous album already for Pop Smoke. And it was fine because everyone kind of knew he was working on it already, and his debut was already expected to come out. But I vividly remember a Instagram comment from 50 Cent where he was saying like, oh, we're gonna finish this for my guy. We're gonna we're gonna make this happen. And I know 50 Cent played a heavy role in finishing that album. That's why, some of the songs had way more features than others, but it worked, and we were fine with it because we at least knew that this concept, this album, a lot of the songs were already started by Pop Smoke. If anything, 50 Cent just got bigger artists to feature on it. Fine. That to me is where my distinction from a good posthumous album and a bad one ends, is if the artist's vision is still attached to this, if his creative vision is still there and his soul is still in that music, then absolutely release it. And I think you saw it with Mac Miller, with Swimming
and Circles.
And Circles, both of them, yes.
Yeah.
Because the artist is still involved. That's his legacy. Even this article was so great because Sheldon Pierce talks about how when they were making that final Mac Miller album, it was a group of collaborators, and the question they asked was, what was your conversation with Mac Flag? What did he say about this? What was his thoughts about this? And that to me makes the entire difference. You can't do that with the Pop Smoke album that just came out. I'm sorry, you just can't. Because that the first one wasn't even finished. Now you're talking about this one. Where did that even come from? It's just, and there's certain hallmarks, especially of rap, of how you can tell when a posthumous album wasn't really planned for, when it's just either what I call a money grab, which is an attempt by a label to milk the last we're
gonna discuss that further. Yeah.
But a ton of features, that tells me this wasn't finished. When features on every single song. So just stuff like that. I won't go long-winded, but my whole thing about it is if the artist's vision isn't there anymore, then just keep the music. Don't put it out.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Avery? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, my thoughts are kind of boring because it's just I think it depends on everything. Every situation is different. You're never, and in every situation, you're almost never gonna know if the person releasing the music has genuine intentions for it or not, just because we don't know these people. So at least with Mac Miller, there's been a lot of transparency in the past couple of years, or since the album was released, about why it was made, how it was made, who it was made by, and just letting them know hey, this is the last Mac Miller album. And if we get another Mac Miller album, we're all gonna know he didn't want that to come out, right? So I think honestly it's case by case. Now that's kind of the boring answer, but
what's so interesting too, from what I've read and things I've read, preparing for this, there's ways that posthumous albums can be released in a creative way. I think sometimes people forget the artist was working on an album and then they died out of nowhere, up and out of nowhere, Pop Smoke and Mac Miller was kind of a shock. But then there's also cases of posthumous albums where the artists or artists knew they were dying. One of the great examples that I read about was Queen. Attended posthumous albums. For example, Queen recorded their final studio album, Made in Heaven, at a time when Freddie Mercury knew his life would be over soon. And he does have the opportunity to confront death, provide listeners with some insights from someone who knows his death was near. There's a quote from Join the Cake, Posthumous Albums Explained, which is a really interesting read talking about posthumous albums. I even had another one, Jay Dilla. He was on his deathbed recording. He's a producer from Detroit. He died in 2006. He was on his deathbed recording his last album, making beats on his deathbed, which is a really interesting thing, which is something I don't think people always think about. Now, with Mac Miller, the thing that made it so crazy to listen to was there were some songs where it felt like he was alluding to that. When you listen to it, that's why, there's a lot of reactions, like people crying about it. Even like Fantana, I remember him crying, listening to those, he was crying, bawling, crying, you know what I'm saying? So in a crazy way, posthumous albums could still be used, death could still be used creatively on an album, which is like the beauty of music. But it's just tough because like the Pop Smoke thing, the Faith, his mom is an executive producer, which is like, wow, that makes it sound like he did it. Now, was she actually in the recording studio, like actually working out things? Maybe, but my first thought is no. You know what I'm saying? My first thought is no, which is what makes it really shaky. And even this New Yorker article talks about, the most difficult thing about making posthumous albums is that the progress of the artist is frozen in time. You know what I'm saying? You can't get their thoughts. You can't get what they feel. You can only approximate what their thoughts are and how they feel about it. So yeah, it's a really interesting thing that I think a lot of people are still trying to juggle now. So after this Pop Smoke album, do you think this was the right thing to do? Do you think this was releasing this Pop Smoke album? You think it was done genuinely, or you think it was a money grab? Like, what are your guys' thoughts? Because some people are there's two sides that feel really strongly about this.
If his mom's attached to it, my first thought is probably not. There's no malicious intent involved. Because it's his mom. I don't know. My first thought when I hear that his mom is involved with this is maybe she genuinely wanted the music to get out there. I don't know. Nnamdi, what do you think?
Don't hold back. Don't hold back.
Well, no, now I kind of want to hold back because I don't want to sound horrible. But, okay, well, no, I think
because I'm kind of with you, Nnamdi.
I think it's both. And I think I'm not sure that family being involved pushes it one way or the other. I think his mom genuinely could have wanted more music to come out because this is her son's legacy, and it was honestly cut drastically short. I'm sure in her heart maybe she feels like my son shouldn't be someone who only has one album. He was way too talented for that, and I would understand that. I would be fine with that. I would respect that, and I'd absolutely that'd be cool. Now, in that exact same breath, I think I can also acknowledge that, at that point, that's different from this still being an album that her son wanted to come out with, music that he wanted to be released. You know what I mean? I won't call it a money grab, because I think an example of a money grab, and I know you may get to this later, would be the little Peep thing, because they reference all that went down. That's a money grab for sure. I'm not going to say this is solely a money grab, but I will also say this isn't something that was done to sort of at Pop Smoke's will, right? Because it couldn't be, because he's passed away. So that alone just implies that, to an extent, you have to think about what all the motives were for this release, and it wasn't just it was commercial interests were involved. I'll just say that.
Also, last year's album was really unique because 50 Cent kind of took that over, and he enjoyed the music himself and was like, okay, I'm gonna help finish this. And I thought that was really interesting. I don't know, I feel like we're gonna see more of that in the future if an artist passed away and maybe a more established artist that they were connected to or were close with is okay, I'm gonna carry this on and finish this for them.
You know how I feel? I don't know if this is considered a negative or a bad thing, but it's always a conversation with rap of oh my gosh, a posthumous album, the second, third, obviously it became famous with Biggie and Tupac, them having millions, not literally, but they have a lot of posthumous albums after release. They have the one that they kind of worked on, and then they have a bunch of that they weren't involved on at all. And in other genres, I don't really Amy Winehouse, okay, is one of the first ones that pop in my mind. She died in 2011. Her last album was released in 2006. There's no work from her at all after that. But I don't think her legacy has necessarily been diminished, or people like her music less or hate her family less. It's kind of in a way enhanced it. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a way enhanced. It's yo, this is her last project. People loved it. And in a way, people love it more. And I don't think, and I'm not saying rap shouldn't do that, but Nnamdi said this because Nnamdi's kind of pulled me to his side. It's like, yo, the artists, they're gonna decide what music they have out. The artists, when they're dead, they're not involved in it. People might have their best interest. They might have the music best interest. They might think this is what they're gonna like. We can only approximate that because they're not there. So I don't always think a posthumous album is required. And I remember I was arguing with Nnamdi. I was like, what if fans want music? It's like, forget the fans.
It's not about them.
It's not about them. You know what I'm saying?
If you have no material to release an album, you're trying to force it through, then like don't keep it.
But no, can I like say something? You said Amy Winehouse. I'll say Aaliyah, the exact same thing.
There you go.
And Aaliyah's legacy hasn't been tarnished. If anything, it's gone stronger. A whole new generation still knows who Aaliyah is, and she hasn't put out new music because when you release
her catalog's not on streaming.
Yeah, for sure.
True.
Yeah, true. That's another issue.
That's the best way to carry on a legacy, honestly, is we have so much access to music now by making that artist's music accessible, which has not happened with Aaliyah.
Yeah.
That's how you carry on a legacy.
Yeah, exactly.
So
what were you saying? What were you saying, Nnamdi? Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't remember exactly what I was saying about Aaliyah, but I remember that her legacy hasn't faded. I think I had another point, but I don't remember. So.
No. Yeah, we kind of got mumble jumbled there. But it's unfortunate that like rap is connected with like this kind of negative connotation with posthumous albums because you never kind of hear that with like other genres. Unfortunately, at least I'm obviously listening to rap. That's the my main way of listening to music and whatnot. But it's kind of unfortunate that they don't hear that with other things like rock. I feel like in rock it's happened so many times because rock has been around for 100 years now. You know what I'm saying? Or not 100, but decades longer than hip hop, and it's something you really don't hear. And it's something also I associate with like these bigger acts like Michael Jackson. He has millions of posthumous albums also, but yeah, I don't know, man. It's a really interesting thing to talk about.
Did you say Michael Jackson does or doesn't?
He does have posthumous albums. He does. I'm pretty sure he does.
I thought he just has the one.
Are you sure? Maybe one. See,
I'm checking because I may be wrong, but I thought it was just he just had like that one that he was like he sort of was about to go. He was about to tour. This is it. That's what it was called. I don't think did he release anything after that?
Maybe I'm misunderstood. What about Escape though? That one, remember? 2014.
Oh, you're right. That one just came out. That one was like the more recent.
Yeah, that was like 2014, 2015.
All right, so apparently there's been two. There's been two posthumous albums, Michael in 2010 and Escape in 2014.
Yeah. So if Pop Smoke next year, I know we keep going back to Pop Smoke. If there another one was to be released next year, how would we feel about it? Then would it be like, oh my gosh, are we serious? Like, would you be you would be livid?
At that point, what are you even pulling from?
I think to bring this home too, what if it was your favorite artist? Because I think it's tough to say because I know we all respect Pop Smoke. We all, might enjoy some songs. We're not like the biggest Pop Smoke fans like Avery. If your favorite artist, I don't want to say anybody because I want to put that on any artist or anybody you care about, anything like that. I don't want to do it with mine. But if an artist you loved died.
Well, I can give an example that's not music based. I brought this up a few weeks ago when we like kind of touched on this. But Harper Lee, the author of To Kill a Mockingbird, that book came out in 1960. It was the only book she ever published. And in 2015, a sequel was released called Go Set a Watchman. To Kill a Mockingbird is one of my favorite books. And I have not read the sequel because she was suffering from dementia at the time. There's controversy on when the book was released. Some people say it was just a rough draft of something. Other people say like it was finished. There's a lot of like cloudiness surrounding whether the book should have been released or not. It was released kind of around the time the Black Lives Matter protests started back in 2014. And, obviously would have been convenient to release a sequel to a book like To Kill a Mockingbird during that time for some people, right? A book that is, a sequel to a book that is used to teach people about racism from a young age. And in the book, Atticus Finch, the lawyer from To Kill a Mockingbird, turns out to be racist in the sequel. And it's just like, was this Harper Lee's vision? Was this her vision for one of the most important literary characters of all time? One of the most iconic film adaptations of all time in the movie by Gregory Peck. So I guess that's my kind of example of this. Like, I have not read the sequel and I will not, just because of how controversial the release of the sequel was.
You run the risk of tarnishing the legacy.
Exactly.
So why do it?
Why do people not feel the same about music though? Because music is just as like creative.
I think people do though. I do. I think so. I think there are people who like I think too. Like I want to talk about Big and Tupac eventually, but I think they're a perfect example. Tupac put out his the first posthumous album he did, and I forgot what it was called, but I know he was
Machiavelli.
Machiavelli. Okay. So he put that out, and it's considered one of the best because he was like, he made that album. You know what I mean? Like it was an album that like came out when he was very involved in it. It featured some of his like final verses, songs that were already kind of put together, like, and that was praised, right? No one had any. It's called the Don Illuminati, the 7-Day Theory, and he's credited as Machiavelli. Sorry, that's but, so that and people love it because it's like not only was his last project that he was involved in, but it almost was like he was hinting towards his death. It was like he was alluding to it, but like you feel Tupac when you listen to it. Praise. There's done like 5 other posthumous albums that were released under Tupac's name that no one talks about. People try to forget almost because it's like it diminishes a legacy because at a certain point you can only stretch someone's songs so far. You know what I mean? You can only stretch the unfinished verses and the unused material. Until you start to diminish the legacy. And now no one wants to tell you that Tupac in total has 11 albums, only was alive for 4, but has 11 because it diminishes his legacy to do that, you know?
And it's kind of weird because rarely, unless when like, and we've always said when the artist is kind of in the middle of working on an album and then they're kind of like going, and then they die and then we're kind of okay with that. But then when people are talking about the legacy of Tupac, you're like, okay, here's Tupac's albums ranked. Nobody's ever mentioning the posthumous albums for the most part. You know what I'm saying? It honestly rarely does a posthumous album after like they die, like years after they die, really add to their legacy. You know what I'm saying? It rarely does. I can't think of an example where like, the posthumous album was released. It's like, oh my gosh, this is one of his best works because he wasn't involved in it. It's not him. It's his voice. Oh, it's not him or
like,
her.
There's a very small list, and I think like Mac Miller is probably one of them. Where in a few years, that's one of his best. That Machiavelli album, and then the Notorious B.I.G. one.
And then Notorious B.I.G. Exactly.
No, I'm agreeing with that. I'm talking about like Pop Smoke. This is one of Pop Smoke's best albums, people would say. I'm talking about like Faith. Right. I'm talking about like the one where they're not involved in it all. Like Pop Smoke was working on. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. The albums after, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. Like,
they need to be involved. It's funny, like, because you can tell when something's inauthentic. I haven't listened to this new Pop Smoke album, and I'm probably not going to. But as soon as I saw all the features,
all the features,
and I was like, bro.
It's a compilation album.
Today though, I listened to it. I listened to some of the songs, and it sounds great. The production's amazing. It sounds expensive. It sounds, the features are cool. Mm-hmm. But in all of that, it feels inauthentic because I know Pop Smoke almost feels like a feature of the album itself. Because of how limited he is in there. It relies so much on production. It relies so much on these features. And then you start to ask yourself, well, why is that so heavy on this? And you remember, because this person isn't here anymore.
Isn't like Kanye on it?
He's on it. Kanye's on it.
Kanye, and I think Pusha T. That's like
think about every rapper. Yeah. I think they have.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy because like you're thinking like this is the sound they would have wanted, but what if like, for example, I know we keep going to Mac Miller, but what if Pop Smoke just took a hard turn if he was alive, took a hard turn and tried to do something different? You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't.
Possible.
It's we never know that. You're like this. He's like we feel like Pop Smoke would like it, but these artists are creative people, and although sometimes these artists do stuff we don't like, it's because they're really creative. Like wow, where'd they think of this? It's like because they're just naturally creative. They think about stuff out of nowhere. Pop Smoke could have took a hard right and did whatever. You know what I'm saying?
And that 20 could be songs under an hour.
Under an hour, you know what I'm saying? That just shows that he wasn't on.
These are short songs with a ton of features, and why? Because see, there's not a lot of source material to work with.
I'm looking at the solo songs like without features, and there's one that's 1:46. There's another one that's 2 minutes long. There's another one that's 2 minutes long. Like,
and you have to start asking. Like, I get why people may say Pop Smoke is the exception because it is tragic for someone to be gone on like before their debut album comes, and they had so much potential. I get it,
absolutely,
but I don't think that removes the fact that you have to question what the interest becomes once the person's no longer here. And a lot of time that's money. And the article you sent, the Heroes of the Posthumous album, they talk about Lil Peep, about how his mom had to like literally fight on some of the decisions the label was making because it started being a money move. They said, oh, even we don't care that Lil Peep didn't like XXXTentacion. They both passed away, so we're going to put them on a song together. Mom was livid about it. Lil Peep would have hated it, but they did it because it would have sold records. Oh, we don't care what you say. We're going to put a guest on every single one of the songs on this album that we put out. The Lil Peep would have hated that, but they don't care because it's a money grab. And I feel like so many of the Posthumous albums you get, especially in rap, it's because the label says, hey, well, this person was signed to a 3-album contract regardless if they're alive or dead. So what are we going to do? I think straight up that's what it is. And then you're thinking, wow, so you're milking a dead person's legacy for money. And that's why I say, you know, you're automatically cheapening their legacy. The Mac Miller, the B.I.G., the Tupac, that's rare. It is rare to produce a good posthumous album, I think.
But that's something they already planned and worked on. Like literally in this article,
exactly.
It says, and this article is mostly going through the eyes of like Mac Miller and the process of creating that Circles album, you know, and stuff like that. And they're talking about right when he finished Swimming, it went right into the process of working on Circles. It wasn't like he waited a year. He was like right into the process of working on Circles. With this guy, I forgot Clancy. I don't remember first name. I don't remember first name exactly, but yeah, it's which is interesting.
Like the DMX posthumous album that came out like a couple of weeks ago. People forgot about that already. And then I was like, well, what was the point of putting this out?
That's the thing. And obviously, and there's still, and it's so crazy because there's songs I love on that DMX album, and I think it was well put together. And I think it's, you know, and I don't know if he was working on music. We really have no idea. There was no like before he died, there was no idea like, hey, DMX is working on an album and whatnot. But I don't know. It's really a slippery slope. There's not a black and white conversation like this one side right, this one side wrong. Because obviously there's still fans that people, I've just heard this. I don't know this because I don't know anybody that's like an artist or a big artist or anything like that. But you always hear of like artist family like, oh my God, all these people that love them, all these people love my son or my daughter. They're such huge fans, and sometimes they feel an obligation to the fans. You know what I'm saying? I said that. I remember when I was arguing, I was like, what about the fans? Don't they matter? And in some sense they do matter, but in other cases they don't. So it's kind of hard to tell because it's all, we're not in these rooms, we're not with these families, we're not with these labels, we're not in those rooms when they're making those decisions. But
yeah, it's always so interesting when you see these artists pass away and then like in the obit or the article say something like, oh, they had thousands or hundreds of unreleased songs.
It's like, okay.
I don't know if I want to hear that.
Has thousands. They say Juice WRLD has thousands, and I'm sure they're gonna repackage those Juice WRLD songs.
Oh yeah, Juice.
Exactly.
And I would feel differently. Like if you put out a Juice WRLD project and it's all full songs that he just had finished,
It's still tough because was those all meant for the same album? Were those all meant for the same album?
I think then the question comes out, well, a studio's not going to let you put out 1,000 songs. You're going to say to pick 16. So maybe he could have wanted some of them to come out. And I guess you're right. At that point, we're just guessing and approximating. But I think
I have a question. So what about like a verse? What if like Anderson .Paak had Nate Dogg on that one album? And it was a good verse song, and he built a really good song around.
Remember Pimp C was on the Drake's album? Remember?
So what about that?
I mean, if they already cleared the verse, maybe, but no, if you're going to a server and just finding different verses that aren't finished and trying to make something out of it, that's a money grab and it's cheap. Leave that man alone.
I know there wasn't, this is the thing too with Drake. Remember he had the Michael Jackson verse and some people were like, that's straight up disrespectful. You know what I'm saying?
I thought that was bad too.
That's another thing we haven't talked about.
Michael Jackson was not about to work with Drake. Like, what are we doing?
We don't know that. We don't know that. We don't know that.
In 2009, when he died, Michael Jackson.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, you're right. Exactly, for sure. But that's another tough thing because like I'm glad you brought that up because that happens a lot in just music in general. Of like artists, they had this artist, they're singing the bridge, they're doing a little verse or something like that.
It's horrible.
That's super interesting.
Man, it's horrible. I think that is horrible.
Was it Anderson .Paak had? Well, I guess also for the Free Nationals album, there was a really good Mac Miller song on there, and I know that .Paak and Mac Miller were like close.
They were close,
and they were friends. And he grabbed that verse, and Caliuchis was on the song.
Was he already on the verse? Was he already on it, or was it like the song was done and then he added a verse?
I don't know. It was after he died, and it was a song with Mac Miller and Caliuchis.
Yeah, I wish we knew the context of that. I know that song. That was a great album too.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I don't know, man. This all such a slippery slope because like maybe in these artists where they're like you have power of my music over and maybe I don't know. It's another thing. This is becoming such a deeper conversation of like who owns the music, who owns the masters? Is it the family? Is it the artist, the label? And then whether we like it or not, they have power whether those songs can be released or not. Was it in their will? What wasn't? You know what I'm saying? A lot of these artists, die shockingly out of nowhere. It's not like a thing of like, oh, for months they knew. It's kind of like a shock out of nowhere, so you never know. So I don't want to, yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Go ahead.
Tough, but at the end of the day, I just feel like already right now with music, we often fail to treat artists as people. But they are. Especially when they're famous.
Fans are so selfish.
Yeah, we start looking at them as deities and start projecting our own feelings onto these people. And I think the perfect time to step back and reflect is when someone is dead. And instead of grieving, you're saying, well, I want another song. Or, do you think he has any unfinished verses? Can we do another EP? Like, you're inherently, by doing that, dehumanizing this person and just viewing them as a money source. And I understand the argument of, oh, well, we may be doing this because he would have wanted this, or, either the family wants another album or whatever. Well, no, because at the end of the day, the person whose job it was to make that decision is no longer with us. And I just think you run more risk of tarnishing someone's legacy than aiding it by releasing unreleased work that was unreleased for a reason. Reasons we don't know, but was unreleased for a reason.
And us as fans got to take some responsibility too, because we so often fans are sometimes the worst people. Like, we always hear like, oh my god, like I've said, like Isaiah Rashad, where's the album? People are like, SZA, where's the album? Frank Ocean, where's the album? We're so spoiled. We think we deserve everything. We think we're owed this album. These artists and their families don't owe us anything. They don't owe us anything. They've decided to bless us with this artistry that we happen to love. They don't owe us anything. If Kendrick Lamar, if your favorite artist, if Nnamdi, if J. Cole decided one day, and he's about to, but like if he's like, hey, I'm gonna stop making music, I don't want to, okay, I'm not feeling it. We gotta respect that. You know what I'm saying? We gotta respect that. And obviously dying, it wasn't a choice that they wanted to make, but sometimes if they die and then people are like, we're gonna let their music live on, the people are like, what about their legacy? Their legacy lived on. They already have music for us to listen to. We can go back. They're streaming. It's so much easier to go back and listen to music at any time it was before, in the past, decades before. You know what I'm saying? It's so easy to go back and listen to music from the 1930s, 40s, 50s. It's so easy to go back and listen to music. And I kind of think of Jay-Z's like, you want to hear my old music, listen to my old, you want to go back, he said something along the lines of, you want me to go back to the old sound, listen to my old albums. You know what I'm saying? Like, these artists have music. This music lives on forever. You don't have to have a posthumous album with them to for their legacy to live on. But I understand them releasing music too. So it's a tough thing. It's a slippery slope. It's not black and white. I see both sides. I understand. Any final thoughts on all this? Because there's not like a solution to this. It's not necessarily like, hey, stop releasing posthumous albums or keep releasing them. It's kind of like
people are always gonna be trying to make a buck out of something. So
it's tough. There's not like a hard ending we can come to of like, this is the right thing to do, this is the wrong thing to do, because people are on both sides. So any other final thoughts from you guys? Nnamdi, Avery?
The best way to preserve a legacy is to just teach newer people and younger people about that person's music and try and just appreciate it. With streaming, it's never been easier. So
there you go. Nnamdi?
Music doesn't die. Music always lives.
Music lives. You're right. I mean, that's well said from both you guys. I don't have like a deep quote. You guys just had quotes. But you guys gotta get tattooed next week. So yeah. Great conversation though, guys. It was a lot better than the one we had last when we just started.
How are you doing?
Yo, our old podcast episodes were kind of trash, bro. I'd be listening back. I'd be like, yo, we kind of sucked.
I think we've grown a lot and learned how to talk a little more naturally. But I love our old ones for nostalgia, and we did that a year in. We're here doing anniversary episodes. Like, come on.
Episode 52 right now. So yeah. So good conversation, guys.
So let's go ahead and wrap this bad boy up. And there's not really that much to get into. Billboard highlights, the same songs are still at the top. Butter is, I'm telling you, the song of the summer. 7 weeks at number 1. Probably going to be number 1 again next week. Good For You by Olivia Rodrigo is kind of been sitting pretty at 2, but it has been gaining steam, so maybe those will switch at some point. But that is 8 weeks at number 2, and then it's What You Think It Is. Levitating number 3, Kiss Me More number 4, Montero number 5. I think all those songs have been in the top 10 and just kind of switched spots a little bit. So yeah, nothing too surprising there. On the Billboard 2.
I was gonna say maybe we should all just stop listening to Leave the Door Open and
Yeah, maybe we should just stop streaming. Stop streaming, people.
and then
At this point,
force them to release an album or something or a song, a
because
clip.
it's been 18 weeks.
Didn't I just say, guys, we're fans. We can't force these people to do stuff, okay,
No,
guys?
no,
We
no,
are
no, 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 no,
privileged.
no, no. We're not
This
doing that. We're not
is
doing that. We're not doing
This
that.
is different. They're
'Cause,
playing.
no, we're
They're
fans.
dangling. They're
Look,
dangling.
They
They're
are.
dangling. a treat.
We're fans and all. We should respect them all true, but this is still a business, okay? And that
This is a
doesn't get
business.
lost in this. Okay,
I have an album. I have an
Don't-
album to listen to.
I have an album to listen to. Don't give me this song and jingle it over here for 18.
Yeah,
weeks
that's what they're
and
doing. Yeah,
make
that's
me-
they know what they're doing too
Oh.
with all these pictures and the commercials. When they got
Or,
fire
or
songs
like
in it
Air's
too.
back, man, we're never getting this album because Bruno's on vacation.
They're definitely trolling. I kind of love it though, but
I love it
I'm
too. 'Cause
mad
I think I think when it finally drops, it'll be huge, and maybe that's what the goal is. Anderson .Paak, I think he deserves that. So like Bruno's
Absolutely.
seen that, but I want Anderson .Paak to have that. So
this album about to be the damn album of the year, bro.
probably.
Crap.
The Billboard 200, pretty also kind of the same. Sour by, well, actually not the same at all. Sour by Olivia Rodrigo is back to #1 for the 7th week. Doja Cat, Planet Her has been sat pretty at #2, which is kind of shocking. I thought that was eventually going to jump up to #1.
Yeah, but Tyler dropped.
Tyler did drop. So I bet you can say that, Doja Cat has more staying power than Tyler, the Creator, which is kind of interesting. Which is why another thing I always say is the #1 debut doesn't mean a lot, because a lot of the times that #1 will be #1 then fall, and you'll have artists that will just sit at #2 forever.
Yeah, like Kendrick's album, Good Kid, Mad City. I think it's the longest running rap album on the charts in history. I think it's still on the charts. Like,
And I don't think it ever hit #1, did it?
I think it was #2. I think it was #2 when it first released, and it hasn't #1, but it's been on there for like weeks. Somebody said that stat today. I don't remember which one you guys said.
Well, rounding out the top 5, Boys Are the Heroes, Lil Baby, Lil Durk, Slab is #3, and I think that's just purely on streaming. I think people stream the hell out of both of those artists. Morgan Wallen's still there after 26 weeks since he was never canceled, and then G Herbo's new album 25 is rounding out the top 5. Tyler, the Creator, narrowly misses at #6. So wait, does this chart say he dropped from 1 to 6? I always forget that the Billboard charts are they're 2 weeks kind of behind, and then
It's
they
weird. It's a weird update, but yeah.
Is
Yeah,
G
yeah.
Herbo's like highest debut?
Ooh, I don't know. It might be.
5 is pretty high. Good for him.
That's good. That's good. I mean, right
It
next
may
to
be. I don't know why I feel like he may have had something higher, but 5 is really good for G Herbo. And honestly, not just for anyone. I often feel like I get lost in talking about this. I often forget that that's the 5th best album in the world.
people. Exactly.
Of
People.
all
in the
time.
country.
Of
People-
all music ever.
Yeah, people love to hate. They're like, "Oh my gosh, you didn't sell 100,000. You didn't do nothing." It's like, shut up. Like,
Avery, it is his best selling so far, which is also beautiful.
and G Herbo is doing good. So, congrats to G
Love G
Herbo.
And
Congrats.
shout out to Herbo. And then on our hits prediction, shout out to Hits Daily Double. I'm going to learn what your name is, considering I come here every day. It's predicting that next week nothing will change. By the time this episode comes out tomorrow, Olivia Rodrigo will still be #1 for the 4th week, with 82,000 units moved. It is now 2021's. It'll be 2021's biggest album by a female act so far.
Ooh.
And that Doja Cat will come and be #2 for the 3rd consecutive week, with 60K sold.
If you want to read the 4th paragraph in that thing you're reading, it talks about 2 albums that we really love a lot, Vince Staples and Snow Allegra, which I'm interested in their chart.
Oh wow, self-titled Vince Staples at 20, and Snow Allegra at 22.
It's
I
kind
stopped
of.
listening to the Snow album.
It's really good. It's so good. It's so good. It's so good. It's really interesting because those artists, even though they're not gonna chart in the top 10, I never feel like they're not unsuccessful. They're I feel like they're doing well. People love them so much.
Yeah,
And they got that kind of music that's you're kind of gonna keep listening to over and over and over and over and over again. That's what it kind of feels like. So.
and I think I can just rest knowing that Vince Staples doesn't care if his album.
He literally says, "Yeah, I don't do numbers, but my shows be sold out." He said, "Y'all be buying, go to the
But
shows."
that's the truth though.
I might buy a shirt. I might buy the merch. It just dropped a
I'm
couple
gonna
days
go
ago.
I already decided when he comes to New York, I'm going.
I might, because that is a preview of our project of the week. Because
This is really fun.
Okay, so we should preface this by saying we fill this in independently every week
yeah, we don't consult
It's
each
not
other.
a
because of
conversation.
how diverse and widespread all of our music tastes are. This has never happened before, but all 3 of us literally coincidentally came with the same album this week for our project of the week, which is
Vince Staples by Vince Staples.
There you go. Came out last week on July 9th.
It's
I'm
so
kind of
interesting.
curious. No,
this became a little mini discussion because we all have the same Vince Staples as Project of the Week.
I showed up last for the first time and was like, oh, everyone else has it here.
But I remember I've known I was gonna do this for a minute because I remember
Same.
last week I wanted to do it and I was like, never do like new albums as our projects of the week. So I like came up with something different. But he did that, man. He killed it.
You know what's so crazy? I rushed to put mine on because I was like, we never talked about like if you have the same. I was like rushing. I was gonna see what Nnamdi was gonna do, and he put it on anyway. And I was like, oh, so that's what we're doing.
And I was gonna do it too. And I was like, well, might as well just put it down.
It's so interesting. 'Cause I want to get y'all thoughts on it real quick. We kind of talked about last week when the release and stuff like that. But since we've all got to listen to it, like, because I've listened to the album like 10 times, it's so easy to listen to.
Yeah.
You know, Vince Staples responding to people. A lot of people feel like he didn't go hard. People like, are you not real? Some people said, you know, he doesn't feel like Vince Staples wants to rap.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get that. It's a rap problem.
And that's what he said. He said, oh, it doesn't sound like I don't want to rap, huh?
So what do y'all think?
What do y'all think I'm doing? My thing is like, yes, he doesn't have the same energy, but I still think the same amount of thought went into the lyrics and the production and whatnot. Yes, he's not hype, screaming, energetic and stuff like that, but I think the same amount of thought and, you know, care went into the lyrics and production. And it's not a happy album. I mean,
No,
it's not a happy
that's why I
album.
was thinking, like, why does everyone want to go hard? This album's sad. If you listen to what he said, it's like the beats
personal.
are kind of upbeat, but it's kind of sad.
And my thing is like, stop pigeonholing artists. That's one of the reasons I'm so appreciative of Tyler the Creator, because he kind of, I thought at least expanded that box for like kind of the hip hop in general. Like, let people like do what they want to do with their music. This is the whole selfish fan thing.
Yeah.
Like, let these artists release the music they want to release. Vince Staples produced an amazing album.
Yeah.
Like, this is a great album. I think I texted, I don't remember, one of you guys, and I was like, this album is like fire.
I think it's a great album. So what are y'all some of y'all favorite tracks? I mean, there's only 10 tracks. 2 of them are interludes.
Who is Tom Brehan? Who is this? This is why I couldn't, how do you tweet this?
He's an editor at Stereo Gum. He's a journalist.
Oh my gosh. I get
Let's invite him on the pod.
that would be interesting.
Argue. Like, that'd be really dope. I'm gonna shoot him a DM. Let's see if we can.
That's interesting. Yeah, talk about Vince Staples because that's
I want to
interesting.
argue.
Yes, just because you're not energetic and not screaming on the album like Run the Jewels doesn't mean you don't want to rap.
For
You don't rap
context, Tom Brehan of Stereo Gum wrote about Vince Staples, who sounds like he'd really not rather make rap music right now. And Vince Staples responded and said, Tom said I should stop making rap. Do we agree? Or are we going to stream Vince Staples? Let us know.
well. Okay, whatever. What are y'all favorite tracks on the project?
I like Law of Averages a lot.
Law of Averages.
I love
Avery.
Are You With That? Is
I have 3 that I really enjoy a lot. The Shining. I love
I
it a
love
lot.
The Shining.
Taking Trips. I love the production on that. And Lil Fade. I love Lil
Okay.
Fade.
I feel like all those songs. Well, I mean, we picked 5 songs for our playlist. And there's
out
10
of like
on
the
album,
8 that are
so
actually songs on the
Are we
album.
just gonna put the album on there?
the entire album on it.
I mean, if we each pick 5, seriously, like, and we.
Oh wow, I know.
pick 2.
I think we may. Well, we
No, we got some songs. We can do like we can each.
we'll add some.
Let's each pick 2. Let's each pick 2. 2 songs.
Okay.
2
A little
songs.
fake.
There's gonna be overlap. There's literally, it's a 10-track album, but there's 8 songs.
I
on
think we should just like pick 5 songs from the album and just put it on. And that can be our.
I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that too.
Yeah.
I'm cool with that too.
That's funny. Okay, well there you have it. So shout out Vince Staples, come on the pod. I feel like he'd do that if I DM him enough times.
Vince Staples is cool, bro. It's so interesting you talk about Tyler because they're like they're different in kind of ways. Because Vince Staples hasn't put the same album.
No.
He's not big into like, you know, this personality of like doing a whole persona and like, you know,
They're
dressing a
both,
certain
like,
way.
Effortlessly funny. They're
Vince
just
Staples
like
is
naturally funny people.
Vince Staples is the biggest troll in history, bro, and he's the best. He's the best troll in history. So yeah. So good episode, guys. Good episode. A lot of deep conversation to talk about the morality of posthumous albums. I think that's what we're gonna call this episode.
Yeah. I think that is Nnamdi frozen. I'm pretty sure Nnamdi.
Yo, is he frozen or not? I cannot
I thought he
tell.
was just like, I thought he was looking at us like, concerned.
Yo, I thought he was just.
And I
staring
know
at
the
us.
moment my Wi-Fi like went out. I literally said it. I was like, my Wi-Fi just went out.
Sorry for the YouTube people that do watch, but I thought Nnamdi was just looking at us.
I was waiting for
now.
Nnamdi to wrap it up, and he was just frozen. I was like, oh.
No, I thought that was just him. But yeah.
So now that we've gotten past that little technical glitch, thank you for watching this episode of the 97 Level Podcast. We hope you enjoyed our discussion. If you did, follow us on all of our platforms, Twitter, Instagram, at the 97 Demo. Tell your friends about us. We will be back next week.